Welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I am Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
It sounded very Hermione. That reminded me of Hermione.
That's
It's
funny. We're
Leviosa.
actually. Have you read or watched that recently
watched
to
it.
remember that?
No. I've never read the books, but just watched the movie.
Of course not. Audiobooks.
Not even.
You probably no. I wouldn't do that with those either. We're reading those through for the kids now. They're at the perfect age for it, 7 and 9.
Yep.
And it's written for kind of that age at the beginning. So we're actually going through those a little bit. And
Have they seen the
it's
movies?
pretty fun. We're reading the
Reading
book
them first.
and then watching the movie, then
Cool.
reading a book. So we're on book 2. And my wife's a big fan, so we're buying the it's the novel, but the illustrated version of the novel.
Mhm.
So they're like $40 books or something like that. She's into it. Yeah. Anyway,
We do that with my son.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
He's 12. We did it with my oldest too. And if they read the books, we would watch the movie. So like my son, both of them actually read like all the Maze Runners because they wanted to watch the Maze Runner movies, and there's a couple other ones. But anyway, episode 150. What an intro! What an intro to episode 150.
You can't beat it. You can't beat it.
So
Marketing
cool.
at its finest.
We've made it to episode 150. Big shout out to our patrons. Huge shout out to Luke and Toborajnin. Thank you both for joining, and a bunch of resubs actually this week too. Thanks everybody for supporting the podcast, being awesome. If you're curious what our Patreon is, it gets you access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast. It's always the same thing. It's always another podcast. It's just extra us,
But it's always different. There's so much
definitely
more
always
variety.
different. Yeah, we talk
completely unscripted. I don't think we've ever had notes for AD.
never. No, there's alcohol sometimes involved, so notes would be
sometimes.
not
That's
great.
When Justin says sometimes, it means often.
Well, I got some good tequila. And we are recording late tonight because Kalandra came out. Our Forever Exiled League finally arrived. If you didn't see it, because a lot of people, well, actually, like 90% of the people that listen to us listen through audio only. We love you. But we did a video this week for our 150th episode as a thank you. It was just very cheesy and goofy, and we had some fun. So if you haven't seen it, you can hop onto our, maybe I'll put it in the description too, the link to it. But yeah, we did a just for fun video thanking everybody for hanging out with us through 150 episodes. That's very cool. We started December 2019. I tried to listen back to episode 1 and I could not do it.
Did you actually
Hated
get
it.
to the audio part where I started
jumped
speaking?
forward when you started speaking because you were using like one of the, it's not a bad mic, but it's just in an untreated room. That type of mic does not go well. But yes, no, I couldn't listen to it. It was just
But the first 2 episodes, the music.
It was so awesome.
We should have kept it.
I still have it. I still have the file for that song.
If we didn't have such a crush on Camille and his music, it'd still be there.
I was talking to him the other day. I love that he knows the music we used to start it, because I was actually talking to him about I wanted to make sure it was fine to use music for the video that we used. And he was like, yeah, that's no problem. He doesn't own the rights to it anyway, but I still wanted to check with him. But he said, I mean, you guys have been using Crusader for forever. I just love that he knows which song, obviously it's his, so he knows it, but it was really funny.
I think it's hilarious. When we had him on in episode 50, we were talking about, or he told us we shouldn't use that as an intro song. We need something a little bit more.
No, he wanted us to use a different area. He didn't think it was like the best area of it or whatever.
The intro that we use, it's too intense for what it is. And like someone who knows way better than us, who we should definitely listen to, we were like,
we like it. Plus, I love when I go to fight Baron now. I'm like, yes, this is us.
That's right. This is our boss.
So I got to try and get him to give us, leak us some PoE 2 music.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, that's going to happen. Yeah. Because nothing bad would happen there. Then all of a sudden, Camille Jr. will become Camille Sr. and Camille Sr. will be looking for a new job.
You can join us every week.
That's right. Hey, you want to make some music?
Anyway, so yeah, we did a video. We had a lot of fun. It was a big thank you. We got some really cool stats last week. Our podcast is in the top 3% in the world for weekly downloads. Which
like not
is
just
bananas.
video games, not just like
that's everything.
In North America where we're from, or like just every single
Worldwide.
podcast that's out there. top
2.2
3%.
million podcasts I think are out there right now, and weekly downloads. We're in the top 3%. Now YouTube is its own thing. We don't put a huge focus on it, so it's not a it's kind of hard because podcasts don't give public stuff. You don't get to see what the downloads are for podcasts, but you can see it for YouTube. So but yeah, it is all tracked, and there are stats for it, and it's very cool. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us once a week, and patrons, thanks twice a week. It's pretty cool, really cool. Big actually for a Path of Exile podcast. I mean, really,
that's all it is.
It's just
not
two
like we're
buds
talking.
Path of Exile gets in there. I know some people love the beginning because actually a lot of people have messaged us saying that they like the
comments were very kind, and obviously none of this would ever happen without any of you. So thank you so much. But it is, to me, it is quite. Maybe I think funny is the right word. I use funny in the wrong context all the time, but it is funny that for a Path of Exile only podcast, where honestly it's 50% of each podcast is Path of Exile, is ranked that high, considering like it's normally, I don't know, like a lot more generic stuff that would have something to talk about each week. So
it's pretty doing exciting. Pretty well. So thank you everybody. That's awesome.
Hopefully you all enjoy the video. Can I say something about the video, about my...
Yeah, you say whatever you want. What do you mean?
Justin...
Tyler was just pointing to his crotch, so I'm trying to figure out where he's going.
My head. What? I pointed to my head, you nutbag.
See?
So Justin deals with me on a regular basis, and I don't know if he can tell. Maybe I was always slow, but he can... I don't know if he can tell how much I've slowed down over the years with my concussion stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But he definitely got a real good taste of it when we were recording.
I don't think you could tell. I think you could tell we were professionally trained actors.
No, it's one of those things where you can definitely tell where I'm desperately trying to remember what to say, and my face is all scrunched up, and you'll notice that every single time.
Your face did fine. Your face did fine.
Your face was good at acting.
Your face did all right.
But you could tell that every single time it's my turn to speak, there's a new camera cut. And that's because every single time it was my turn to speak,
it was so
I couldn't remember what to say, even if it was one sentence, one simple sentence. And Justin like babied me. We like made the whole thing so it was so easy for me to remember.
I think I took an extra line because there was one part that was a little bit long, so I took an extra line.
Oh, and
it was so fun though.
Oh my goodness! Time. So we were laughing about inability to do very basic memory games.
That
so hopefully you enjoy the cuts. Hopefully you enjoy the cuts.
There's a lot of cuts, and they're very really obvious, and we're fine with that. It was cheesy. It wasn't supposed to be professional, but yeah, that 2 minutes was about 45 to 60 minutes of us working on it, somewhere around there. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
There was like that the park we were going, the caretaker of the park was actually doing the ride-on lawn mowing while we were there, which was a crazy timing because we had no clue that was happening. So we were hoping to maybe get like a drive-by in the background as that was happening. And so again, thank you for all the wonderful comments. It was extremely edifying. Just a fantastic community that we have here, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you.
You guys are awesome. That was
one
our
final thing.
I will just say our because we've done something special for every 50th. So in that video, we told everybody the secret that I don't know, should I say it or should you'll watch the video anyway? Path of Kalandra or Lake of Kalandra is here because of us. So you found obviously. Out now, but you'll find out more in the video if you watch it. Anyway, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I just think it's funny because it was one of my favorite parts of the whole video is that we're like 5 feet apart from each other kicking a soccer ball.
And I missed it once.
Nobody like commented or said it. It's not like they have to, but to me, that's like the funniest part of the whole video. We're like 2 seconds apart from each other, and that's what we're going to the park for.
Yeah. And then your sandals are actually over by me, and because of the cuts, the dog like jumps. And every time the ball came close to Riley, she would like jump away a bit. And it's pretty funny.
You can tell we had a good soccer.
It was a lot of fun. So, and it was we were both on camera, which we haven't done before. So that was fun.
Yeah. Congratulations, Justin, on showing the world your face.
I know. We did it for 150. There it is. What do you got? You look like you're about to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, while we're on the subject of birthdays, happy birthday, Path of Exile in Xbox land. You're 5 years old. Well, you're going to be 5 years old on the 24th of August. So
that's when it is
August,
released.
right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. Cool. Right. There's a smooth segue into PoE then.
Next segue. How was your week, Ty?
Yeah, let's get out of this. I had I don't even remember my week. Oh yeah, we're going camping Sunday just for a couple nights. My wife and I were big. I mean, you and I, of course, and our friends. We used to go camping all the time.
Are you still into camping?
Well, we haven't. I still really like it, but I haven't been since we've been married, and we've been married now for 13 years, coming up 13 years. Don't worry. I got a system in my head. I got a system. I can do the maths. And so anyway, no, but it's been a while. And so we did some camping prep and some camping shopping because, well, apparently 20-year-old camping supplies for one single male don't really cut it for a family of 4.
Shocking.
Nor are they approved by many other members of the family.
Do you even have camping stuff?
Oh yeah, I still have the pots and pans because when Justin. So I don't know what camping's like everywhere else. Out here, most people camp like they bring their cars and they have a camping site with their cars right on the campground type of thing, and they just have a tent and they're half bushwhacking. Yeah, that's what it's like where it's here. I don't know where it's like where everybody else lives. Justin and I and our group of friends, we enjoyed camping where, you know, we'd park our car, we'd hike for 3 hours type of thing up a mountain somewhere and find some nice spots. Still provincially approved, of course, because, you know,
some of them weren't, but that's fine.
Sure, but the one we settled at was well, I don't even know what that was, but anyway,
that's fine.
Awesome campground. So, you know, we would buy the stuff where, you know, you'd need to make sure that the stuff was light because you're carrying it in your backpack and you're going to have your tent and your sleeping bag. And, you know, that's the kind of camping we used to like. And so that's the kind of stuff I had. And, well, I guess things get rusty when they're in a garage or crawl space for 20 years and this kind of stuff. So we went out and spent more money.
Camping, like in a tent?
Yeah, we're going tent camping because we don't have anything else. But it's just going to be the kind of like lame, you know, buy a camping stall, rent a camping stall. Your car's in the same spot.
Are you going camping somewhere in our area? Like, don't say where, but is it somewhere close to us? Okay.
Well, I mean, the directions the provincial website gives are kind of willy-nilly, but I'm guessing it's about an hour and a half away on the other side of the lake. And yeah, so, but anyway, my wife and I are big, like we really enjoyed camping as well once we started getting together, and we just hadn't bothered or thought of it since we've been married, and it just kind of dawned on us during COVID, and for some reason, you know how you're like trying to stay away from people during COVID and, you know, do the whole distancing bit. Well, for some reason, we thought that camping would be bad during COVID and like bring us close to people as opposed to getting away from people. But I guess we'd never really done the provincial campground stuff. Like we've always done the hiking like we used to do. So like you and I used to do. So yeah, anyway, so instead of introducing the kids to camping during COVID, we're introducing it now.
A lot of the provincial parks closed the campgrounds during COVID anyway.
Oh, then that might make sense too. Obviously, I wouldn't have the memory for it, but it's kind of funny because we booked too late. Like by the time we finally confirmed some dates and she got her vacation time from work, we booked way too late. Like there's a camping fire ban now. Yep. And I mean, it's 30 degrees outside, so we know it's not going to rain, which has been fantastic, but it's such a drought now that we're not allowed having campfires. So we had to go out and buy one of those stoves and stuff like that. And so some propane, and so we spent more money than we wanted to, but it's fun. We're only going for a couple nights to make sure that the kids actually like it. It sucked to book for 4 nights, and then the kids are just like,
your kids are going to be, they're going to love it.
I hope so.
I think kids, I remember, because we've done camping a few times and I won't do it ever again, but camping as a kid, way more fun than an adult.
Totally.
Yeah. It sucks as an adult. It's not fun at all.
And
anyway, that's cool.
Yeah. So we're doing that on Sunday, and we're coming back Tuesday. So it's only 2 nights just to be safe. Let's see. Still lots of lawn work, but I'm down to two times a week now for cutting my lawn instead of like once every 30 minutes. And it's interesting because
watering it through this summer.
No,
or
I'm
you
not
just
watering it at all.
Okay, it's not dying with
dormant.
No water.
Well, because I like a longer cut too. But the stuff that's right near the street, which gets sun the majority of the day, that's gone dormant now. It's quite brown. But the stuff that's closer to the house, it's still pretty long, and I have to mow it. So it always feels weird mowing half a lawn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like I should mow over the brown stuff, even though it's not growing, just to be, you know, prim and proper.
To feel better.
But but the backyard, because of all the shade and the evergreens we have in the backyard, oh my goodness, it is thick grass. It is fantastic. So having a lot of fun with it, but I really want, like, we had our both yards completely dug up with excavators, right? Back in March and April because of our perimeter drain leak that we had. And so obviously they remake the yard and it's all nice now, but all that dirt has settled. And so the yards are really lumpy now, right? With like all the different pockets of lumps. And so I really want the same people, preferably, to come back and, do that mix of sand and topsoil, right? And spread it all out and then reseed for all that. They must be really bad at communicating, or they want nothing to do with me because they're not responding at all. So I gotta find new people. Do you like your guy's prices? The guy you have?
Yeah.
Or is he just easy?
His prices to me are fair, actually very, very fair. Yeah.
Do I trust what you think of prices?
On this one, I would say yes. On this one, I would say yes. He is very, very good. I would say he's a little bit hard to book with though, because he's very busy. But
he's very willy nilly. He doesn't give you a date. He's just like,
he does.
Might be around.
He does.
Oh, okay. Well, I used him once for air rating, I think, and he didn't give me a date. But anyway, do you need is my wife okay? She's playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, I can hear the Elden Ring. It probably won't even come through in the recording, so let her have some fun.
She's a very dramatic player. She gets very into it. All right, so you're good?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, so I'm looking for someone to hopefully sand and topsoil before the wet weather comes because I want the seed to go down. But we're getting close to the wet weather pretty quick here. Anyway, yeah, and that's it. And then I'm secretly planning on transplanting a couple plants or removing a couple plants that my wife likes so that I can have a couple plants that I like a nice camellia bush in there. I need some stuff that looks good in the winter, and we don't have any of that. Previous owners that had this place, they were springtime only folk. That or boxwoods. Ugh, boxwoods are so lame. So anyway, I need to get a couple camellia plants in there, make things look nice in the wintertime. And hang on a second, I gotta go yell at somebody. It's a lot of banging around. Because
it's
kids.
Oh.
Are you sure?
I'm not hearing stuff.
All right, well, I want to yell at somebody. All right, fine.
Then I gotta cut it out.
So yeah, and then the thank you video, which was absolutely awesome. So it was a really busy week because we're taking off.
Cool.
How about you, Justin?
My week was insanely busy, like over the top busy, which was fine because there was a lot of work. I did my prolo last week. Right. I think I talked about it in After Dark, but that was right after it had happened. It's been a lot better this week because it usually like 4 to 5 days afterwards starts to heal up. So it's been very, very good, which was awesome. Because I think I told you in After Dark last week, I almost passed out. It was the worst prolo experience I'd had yet because he found 2 new points, like pain points that were right in the center of the spine. And the needle had to go very, very deep into the spine for him to get to it. And I actually started getting like cold sweats and lightheaded. And I thought I was going to either puke or pass out. It was the hardest one I've ever gone through, but it was worth it in the end.
Hang on. Yeah. I just remembered I can hit right on the arrow key on the keyboard to go from how was your week to this week in PoE.
Oh, I'm happy about that.
Isn't that great? So you're dying from prolo.
Anyway, so it's been awesome. My back has been so good this week, which was really good for how busy it's been. We finished The Sandman on Netflix.
Oh, did you?
Oh, so good. I loved it. I don't care. I know it's getting very good reviews, and some people are like, well, yeah, if you've read the books, from what I understand, it's very, very good to the books. There's maybe some things that are a little bit different, but people say it's really good. A few people don't like the actor that they picked, but for somebody who's not read the books, my wife and I loved it, like absolutely loved watching it.
It's one of the first shows that somebody has ever sold me on, which was you, with such a quick description. When you said that like the first season is the first 400 pages of the 3,000 of the first book, I'm like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah. And it's just, the scenes are so big. Like I love that kind of Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. Like I just love big worlds and big sets and stuff. It's really good. And then we were trying to figure out a show to watch. So we started watching The Boys on Amazon Prime. Have you ever heard of it?
I have, because I'm kind of a superhero nerd. I get a lot of stuff on my newsfeed about it. I haven't given The Boys a shot yet though, but I love, dude, Keith Urban is
the singer.
Isn't that his name? No, who's Urban?
There's a singer, Keith Urban.
No, he played, oh my goodness, I'm going to hate myself for this. In Lord of the Rings. He was the leader of the Rohirrim. Oh my goodness, how am I forgetting his name? How can I be a Lord of the Rings nerd? Anyway, when he's like cry screaming slow-mo in front of the camera when his sister's down. Oh my goodness. Do you not remember that in the third movie?
No.
Oh, I'm going to, while you're, okay. So
what's
you
the
tell
point?
me.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because I love him and he's in your show that you're talking about.
Is he in it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Well, okay. So you haven't seen it. I'm not going to say anything about it spoilery, but Christina and I started watching it. We're hooked. Like it's super hooked. Super, super hooked.
So it's okay.
I think I know who you're talking about, but It is a
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban? Who is that?
And he was Éomer.
Carl Urban. I just want to see who this is. I don't know which person he is. Oh, amazing. Super good. Love him.
In everything, yes.
But it is a big adjustment to get used to a superhero show where the superheroes are assholes. I've never. Yes, that is the premise. Yes. It was such a shift for us to get used to, not all of them, but that there are some full-on superheroes that are just dicks. And it's been very funny. It's pretty gruesome, which we're both fine with, but there's a scene, I will not talk about it, but it is in the first season, that I laughed way harder than I should have, and Christina actually hit me because she didn't think I should be laughing. And then later in I think that episode or the next episode, we were watching the episode and I just leaned over and started laughing again. I tried to turn my head away from her and she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm thinking about it again." And she's like, "What's wrong with you?"
Oh man, have you just sold me on 2 shows in one?
It's an interesting one to get into. There's 3 seasons. We're about halfway through the first season, but we've actually both had a really good time. I was talking to Josh about it and he said he really liked it too. So yeah, we watched that. We did the video shoot, which was a lot of fun.
Super fun.
And got that all out. And then I think that was the bulk of it. It was just then the league launching today. Cool. So yeah, it was a good week. Really good week. Busy, but good.
Check Discord. I sent you a picture. This is Carl, not Keith, Carl Urban in that
the
one
long
scene.
Blonde hair.
Yeah,
right.
Éomer. And that scene where he's running up to his sister, that's just like, she's been crushed. He's scared she's dead. That, like, when he's going up, like I'm like bawling my eyes out every single time. I'm like, oh, it's so good. It's like the best scene in any movie ever. It is just astonishing. And I love him in everything that he's in.
With the show, like it's not often where I'm like struggling not to watch the next one, and it's killing me right now for where the story is to not know what's happening. Like I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow night watching a couple episodes with Christina because I really want to find out what's happening with this one particular character. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun.
So we're 20 minutes into a PoE podcast with no PoE.
We talked PoE in the beginning, guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you got your PoE.
Yeah. Congratulations, Xbox.
Lake of Kalandra, blah, 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 episode 150. This is 2 buds talking, okay?
That's right. So we're going to just like cut the Path of Exile talk down to 5 minutes, and then we'll have After Dark for 10 minutes, and then Justin can watch his show.
Yeah. What were you going to just say there? Or were we good?
No, that was it. Okay. But how about you let me go to the bathroom? And then we can do this week in PoE. Yeah, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Okay.
You can time me.
I'm going to.
Did you miss me?
Who wouldn't? All right. What are we doing this week in PoE?
I even washed my hands.
Oh, that's very nice of you. It doesn't happen often.
I still like joking that's why people use the really like.
That's why we got the fancy soap, the smelly soap. It was for Tyler to make sure we knew.
That's right. So when we're playing games, if you can't smell this fruity soap when I come back,
controller.
That's right. Yeah. Excuse me. Give me those dice, please. Go wash your hands.
Mm-hmm. So what do we got this week in PoE?
Well, let's fly through this. A lot of this is 2 weeks worth because I was so excited about the reveal that I forgot to do this week in PoE for last week's episode. So sorry, we are going to skip through a bunch, but most of it we've already talked about anyway. Cool div card. Bijou. It's just cluster jewel stuff. Love it. Just give me more cluster jewels without delirium. I think it's fantastic. And then a whole bunch of stuff. What did we have? Boss Kill event, the mystery box, launch on Twitch. Oh yeah, there's been a hotfix.
Yeah, there's actually been one since we started talking too.
Oh really? So there's a hotfix number 2 now?
I don't think they called it hotfix number 2 because now we're into this new one. It is called patch 3.0.3.1.9.0 hotfix 1. Wait, is that the same? No, yeah. There's another one. It just showed up on. Hold on, you go ahead and say that one. I'll tell you.
Well, this one's a really small one, and I was impressed that there's not like, maybe this is just a bad memory now and remembering the way things used to be. But
it is the same one.
You're okay. Good. So yeah, it's just the one, and it had 3 fixes on there with something about lightning conduit.
One of them was a very big
XP
deal.
penalty, but I like that fixed a bug where negative life regen could cause you to die in the Rogue Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
The third one was a very big deal. The lightning conduit one.
Would hit the same shocked target multiple times when combined with chain reaction. Ah, gotcha.
People were basically phasing bosses, like instantly killing bosses with the new lightning conduit. So
what's wrong with that?
That's how we're supposed to play the game.
That's right. Yeah.
Wreck my build.
So this was something you brought up last week. I don't know if you have anything else to say on it, but I would like to just thank GGG again. Even though it sounds like it was the creators of the wiki or the sustainers of the wiki that brought it up with GGG, but the fact that GGG was willing to and have that discussion about taking on the costs for the community wiki, encouraging the community wiki, like that same one, the wiki.net version, not the don't use fandom anymore, no. People don't use fandom. Yeah, wiki.net. The more we use it, more clicks it gets, the higher up it gets, and then fandom. With its stupid ads. I hate fandom on every single wiki that it has, not just the PoE one. But anyway, yeah, so thanks GGG for taking that on. Thanks everybody for still working hard at this community wiki. It's fantastic. I love how reliable it is. And I mean, it's kind of been a week of teases. You know what I mean? Like future teases, like with this community wiki, GGG said, you know, there's a possibility in the future. It's not what we're doing now. We're just taking on the cost, but you know, there's, you know, this lines up the possibility of one day, you know, uploading stats or information to it so that there's a lot less manual updating when it comes to patches and stuff like that, or league launches, which really, really cool. And then he also said something about that in regards to like also teased a future that they're not working on yet, but it sets things in motion for, hey, that's not even on here, is it?
What?
Huh. Well, we'll have to talk about that right now then. Because I just took these from the announcements page, but console is also getting PC trading instead of console trading now.
Right.
And that's weird. But it was, they also had another tease in there. Well, let me get the segue in there first. They also tease some future stuff that they're not doing, but it does pave the path for if they're going for, and it's something they're definitely discussing, which is stuff like cross-platform play. The same marketplace.
Where did you see cross-platform? I never saw that anywhere, and I was trying to figure out where you saw cross-platform.
And they had even like cross purchases. Like everything they talked about was making it the same universe.
I didn't read. I read about the trade stuff that was going to be happening, but I never saw anything about any sort of cross.
Did I miss
stuff.
It in the announcements, or is it in our? Oh yeah, and they added lockstep for console as well, which is cool. Soon it'll be default. I can't find it. They did. It looks like they didn't add it actually as an announcement.
Yeah, I don't know where the actual post was for it. We'll look it up later. But I just didn't. I did read the stuff about the trade. I just never read anything about an actual cross-platform even possibility.
Yeah, no, it was in there. I think they called it cross-play, but all the other stuff that they mentioned was about it being in the same universe, and that's what this trade kind of presented that path. So basically, now console. Well, before this, console was, you had a horrible time shopping for something because of just the layout of it, right? Like you could search for one keyword, but then you had to scroll through every single base type.
I did find the post.
Oh, can you send it to me?
Yeah, but sorry, keep saying what you're saying.
So console had this ability where you would have to look for a specific base type, but then you would have to scroll through every item that was for sale of that base type because you could only type in one keyword. And you still have to scroll through everything, but the keyword would highlight and then gray out which items were or weren't what you were looking for. And I remember a long time ago, Chris or Jonathan saying that that's what they wanted trade to be like. Like you shouldn't find the perfect item, find an improvement or something that's a little bit better than what you have, but they still wanted you to find the better items, not purchase the better items. And so that was kind of how they wanted it. And then what would happen is when you wanted an item, you would just click on it, and then it would tell you what the price is, and then you would offer it. You would offer more, you would offer less, the same amount that was requested. And you wouldn't have to be in the same instance as someone. That would just happen through a menu. And then the next time that person was on, whether they were on now or later, then they would be like, oh yeah, I'll accept that. And then the transfer automatically happens. You take, your new currency from the item you sold just out of the window. Instances didn't matter. It was just completely asynchronous. And so is asynchronous the right word? Who knows? So anyway, That's the way it used to be. And now almost everybody knows how it works on PC, right? You have to be in the same instance. You can do tons of crazy searching. And they're adding the ability for console players to actually be able to interact with the trade site And so, yes, you do need a separate device or use the crazy, Microsoft Edge or whatever it is on the console. But like for me, it would be because it's Xbox. So, let's say I'm using my phone, I click on it, and then there's actually a whisper. So if I'm logged in with my Xbox account, it'll auto whisper within the game, and then the transaction can happen. But you have to be in the same instance. And that's the part that kind of weirded me out a bit. Like, I love the direction they're going, and I love the path of eventuality, but there's like so few players on at the same time in Xbox land. And now, hang on, I play standard. I never play League on console. I have no idea how popular it is League on console. But as a standard player, I'm never going to trade again. I'm not ever going to be on, like, I'll play for 2 hours. You know what I mean? The chances of me selling something that I want online is pretty slim. So for a player like me, these changes are awesome to have when there's more to fulfill with it. Like maybe when eventually cross-platform, if that was ever to be something in the near future. But for a player like me, these changes don't matter. Hopefully, or it actually just reduces my trade chance to 0. But hopefully for League players, hopefully the consoles are busy enough, and that's why Path of Exile or GGG chose to do this for console land.
Yep, I would imagine that is.
I would really hope so. So anyway,
so their wording that they I'll say
no,
what their
you
wording
go.
is.
Yeah. No,
so
please do.
They were talking about enabling the trade site for console, but they said the context for the changes is that of unification. It'd be great to see both console and PC version have the same choice of either mouse keyboard or game controller. It would be great for them to have the same patches on the same day and potentially have cross-play, cross-progression, and cross-purchases. All of these are difficult issues that require significant engineering work, platform support, and various other factors, so we're not able to promise any of them at this stage, but it's a future we'd love to work towards and one that requires that Path of Exile is the same on both platforms. And then they go in to say that they want to get the feature sets the same, and that's why they're doing trades.
So for me, that cross-play in console land means an Xbox One can play with an Xbox Series X. But to me, I think this cross-play means cross-platform because they're talking about the same marketplace and the
cross-purchases.
Yeah.
So I don't see that ever happening. It's cool that they have that maybe as like something to say there might look at, gig. But I don't know. I'd be surprised. Cool that they said it though.
I hope so. I mean, we were floored when they first, I was anyway, when they first announced that they were working on console. Like that takes some big resources too. So you never know. But anyway, so that kind of conversation just segued from the fact that, what was it? Oh, right. The community wiki is now being hosted by them, and it allows the future possibility of them maybe, downloading or uploading whatever it is, information to it to make it easier. But I love that they went all in. They automatically put it on their website. They didn't have the old fandom version that was on their website for forever. And so that was nice. It was nice to have the company itself completely on board with what the community is really trying to focus on. So that was awesome. Yep. And then all this Kalandra stuff that we've already talked about, ExileCon, gem changes.
Hey, ExileCon, I actually just wanted to point out, we've had a number of people ask us if we're going. We don't know. It's up in the air.
It's a hard choice to make.
Yeah, it's a time thing. It's a money thing. So it would be very cool to go, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and it's a commitment that just with like plane tickets and stuff like that's probably a better choice to make later on anyway. Maybe
it can be booked now anyway, so they're not even available. And so we have to wait and see. But it would be fun to go. I'm actually surprised that it's become a possibility for me, so it would be cool to go, but we'll have to play that by ear.
We'll just go holding hands, just. Let's see, the couple other things that were in there. Like, there was a lot that happened, but we talked about it all as, the spoilers and stuff came up for, not spoilers, but the reveals came up for all the different, like, Kalandra stuff. There was a cool div card when they announced all 15 div cards coming out, or the rest of the div cards, whatever it would be. There was a checkmate one. Can you see it? Like, did you bring it up? It's a picture of, I don't know who, because I don't actually do Delirium, but one of the bosses. It has like a clock on its chest, sitting there, and it's two people, like just a player or a person, and then this boss enjoying a good chess match. And it's for an odd amount. Well, I guess technically it's even, but I think it was 76 simulacrum splinters.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. Like to read about that for sure. And they came out with item filter information, and this was actually a really thoughtful item. And you know how normally there's like something I can complain about with how the item filter information was presented, and I have questions and I have to guess and I have to go check Neversink stuff. Oh, Justin's falling asleep. Wake up, bud. Wake up. No, this is awesome.
This is my favorite part.
There was under the ring class, there was a bunch of base types that were added. One of them is a base type of ring.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Do you know how difficult that is in filter land? Like, now, apparently, because I couldn't get a response from anyone unless they were a player, so I'm hoping they're right. So there's a new unique ring, and its base type, like every unique has to have whatever base type, right? And so its base type is ring. Okay. I don't know if that's a specific base type, or if it just means it's any ring base type can be chanced into it, or what, I don't know. But do you know how hard it is to have a class and a base type as the exact same name? Or a base type that has the exact same name as almost every other base type, like coral ring, topaz ring. Like, I can't put quotes around the ring and specify, okay, I want this specific base type to look this way. I can't do it.
Sounds awful.
Who thought of ring? Why is it ring? I need answers. Filter people need to know why there's a base type that has the exact... Anyway, so...
Tough week for Ty. Tough week.
It was a rough few days. I was sending tweets. I was asking questions on the forums, and everyone's like, ugh. So, but I couldn't get a legit answer. Like, I don't... How do you... You can't filter stuff like that. So anyway, but yeah, it was a really busy week, and
their private leagues are available to make, and guess what you can't make? Hardcore solo self-found. Can't make it.
No, but that's normal, right? For the first month?
It's silly. Doesn't matter.
I would like to know why.
It's apparently because of the boss event, but I still don't get it. What difference does it make if I make a hardcore solo self-found? It just doesn't. I don't get it. I really don't get it. So you're forced to
participate in the event whether you want to or not.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, we'll take your money, but not for a month. Give us a month. Just wait a month, and then you can pay us. Anyway, now that I know it, it is what it is. I just still think it's dumb. So, anyway.
Well, how was your PoE week?
Well, I'm going to be going straight into the launch. So until the launch, I didn't touch PoE. Did you?
Well, then let me go quick. Yeah. Filters.
Oh, God.
I had a really busy time. It was busy, but I talked about my horrible memory when we were talking about our 150th video. And I have that same memory with everything I do. So filters is obviously a pretty, like, how do I have things organized? What's the idea here? Why is it set up this way? Every time I go into my filter, I'm like, all right. It's like a brand new filter for me every single time. But luckily, my head was screwed on straight however many years ago. I don't know how, but the layout that I have and how I've even described things for future me so that when I show up, I read it and I'm like, oh, that's really smart. I'm glad I wrote that. And that's good. So every time I go into my filter, it's a new experience. But every time I'm in there, it was set up by a smarter version of me to let me know what's going on, and I don't make mistakes with it. It's pretty awesome. That's good. Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Always helping future dumber Tyler.
That's right. I'm not getting smarter, that's for sure. But Justin, you know how I don't write guides anymore, right? Don't have time for
I don't know. Do you not? Because I saw somebody ask you about something and you were like, yeah, it'll be posted and blah, blah, blah. So
I post builds, but I don't do replies. Like, making builds is easy.
Wait, so you're doing exactly what I told you to do like a long time ago? Just make the build and not reply? Oh, good for you.
Yeah. But I don't post them on the forum because that would just encourage more replies. So I post them. So it's just basically and it's going to fizzle out. Like, the amount of people that follow my Twitter, the amount of people that follow my builds, like, eventually people aren't going to know that. And so it eventually will fizzle out. But there's still a lot of people that do follow my builds. And so on PoE Planner, you can have just a very small normal URL that you can follow. And anytime I make an update to that build and save it, everybody gets that. So it is a nice updated version. So the time consuming stuff with the guides was, okay, I would change the build. Now I have to like redo these descriptions, which took forever. And then of course there's the replies, which would take a lot. And I really miss it. Like, these aren't complaints. I loved it. I just don't have the time for it. But making builds is a little bit easier. This time, Justin, I made 5 builds.
Wow.
But don't worry. I did some asterisks. I'm like, I haven't played these 3 builds before. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, but anyway, I've been dwelling on these builds for a really long time. Tried one of them and it failed miserably at the beginning of Archnemesis. That was the zombies with the Guardian. But I've been dwelling on them for a really long time. But the removal of +2 to minions for the necromancer made it possible. I mean, not necessarily possible. I have no idea how they're going to fare, because right now, just with the experience that I had in the first 3 acts, zombies are not in a good place at all.
Well, they're not worse. It's the same as what you were in the past.
Yes,
It's
because I wouldn't have been
different.
ascended. But that's kind of the thing. Now it's like, okay, well, hopefully, like when I tried this experiment with the Guardian last league, at the beginning of last league, it failed miserably because I didn't have that extra +2. So hopefully the items start dropping. But right now, I can't take zombies through the axe. I have to have something secondary, because I either, like at this stage, I'm level 20 something, and I'm just the beginning of Act 3. And I have to choose between survivability or damage. So I've chosen survivability because, I mean, that's the whole point of zombies. They have to stay alive. So I don't have, I barely have any life myself, and they can barely hit anything. Like, they're taking a long time to kill stuff, but they're still dying very frequently. So imagine if I went for damage like that, it's a hard mix up. So anyway, the point is I don't know if these builds are going to work, because they're all zombie builds, 1 righteous fire and 4 zombie builds, but they're all going to be in the same situation. It's like there's going to be a better class. It's just which pros or cons do you like? Do you like them to have the onslaught of the Guardian, or do you like having more defense for yourself as the Scion? Or so then there's no cultist, and of course the Necromancer version as well. And then I touched up my righteous fire build. So anyway, it was a lot of fun to post all. And I know I'm really boring. Yeah, I'm really boring.
No,
I was gonna league start with the SRS Raider, but I really wanted to try slow-mo zombies. I'm doing a curse efficiency zombie build this league with the occultist, with Bane and 3 curses. I really want to see how it works out. So doing that one, and then I'll just use standard next week and see how the SRS Raider pans out. And if it actually pans out, then I'll know that for next league start with you, because then you won't have to wait for me. I'll be zipping.
Cool.
So anyway, busy time. But let's talk about the actual league. It's been whoa. I'm still recording, right? Yeah, good. 45 minutes in, and we'll get to the league start now.
I have a backup. It's fine. It's always running.
Right on.
Yep.
Yeah, right. It's always running.
Always. Every time.
60% of the time.
Yeah, let's talk about the league start. First off, it was actually a very smooth league start. Okay, I have to say, this was the first league I ever realized that they do a queue like hours before the league comes out.
I swear you knew this. I swear you did.
So typically for me, how a league launch goes is I get home like literally as the league is about to launch, and I'm quickly trying to update Steam and log in and get into a queue. And it's usually 10 to 15 minutes before. And that was the case again today, except that I was home before, but like 2 hours before the league was going to release, because I had a meeting in 30 minutes after that, which was an hour and a half before the league. And I saw people in our Discord saying like queues up, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was worried that I was wrong, that the league was actually launching in 15 minutes, because it was 2 hours and 15 minutes roughly before the league was going to go. And I thought, oh, did we get the wrong time? Like, was I not paying attention? So I sure enough opened the game, and I'm like 13,000 in the queue, and I'm thinking, and then I even wrote in Discord, I'm like, is the league starting in 2 hours from now? Like, am I? And they're like, yeah, it'll be live in 2 hours. And I'm thinking, I had no idea that people sat in the queue for that. I don't know. I didn't realize. And you said that this is like this every league.
Yeah.
That it's hours beforehand.
I don't know about hours, but yeah, I would say 2 hours is, from my crappy memory, 2 hours is,
man, I feel like it was like
to me
20 minutes, 15 minutes in past leagues. I could have sworn that it was like literally right before. So anyway, that was cool. The league, to me, the league launch itself was very smooth. They've been very consistent with that in the last number of league launches. Like,
yeah, they have.
You don't have I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but not crashing. I didn't see people talking in Global 2121 about crashing. I didn't see people on Discord saying they were crashing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the league itself to me launched pretty smoothly.
And apparently there was one disconnect in the EU server, and not like one, like you only disconnected
like one
once, but like no, but like there was a blip that they saw one time in the EU server. So I'm sure a whole bunch of people would have been kicked at that same time. Like everybody playing would have been kicked at the same time.
I know Josh got kicked once while we were playing
then
today.
They fixed it, and I mean they were very apologetic about it. Yeah, so very, very smooth. The game wasn't like jittery or crazy. There wasn't graphic stuff going on. It seemed very, very smooth to me.
I found a little bit of lag in some spots, but not
Oh, really?
overly that bad. Yeah, I mean, it's the same as everything though. You go into like some zones and there's like a billion glittery things, and I could feel it a few times just because there's so many. You know, like as you get further into a league, you can go into a zone and it's not like it's at its peak amount of people.
Maybe
But
oh, you're talking like, oh, well, no, MTX land, when you go into like Lion Eye's Watch, yeah, that's those MTX just eat up my computer. But in terms of gameplay, like I don't care. Like it would be nice if that was smooth, but gameplay to me was totally fine.
What are you playing? Oh, you're slow-mo zombie, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm an occultist. I'm going with zombies. It's almost the exact same. Not yet. Yeah, bragger. But
just saying.
Just saying. I've ascended.
Just asking.
8 times already.
At least.
But no, so I'm going to be an occultist. Everybody knows that means I started as a witch. And let's see. So I have every life node and survivability node on the tree for my zombies. Squeaked out as much damage as I could. I have about 180% life. And I have my defense and my skill gems like auras and such. But I'm going to be doing zombies, and I'm going on the chaos and curse route of the occultist. And I'm getting all the curse efficiency nodes. That's kind of like my extra tidbit there, right? You go for minion offense, minion survivability, my life, and there's really not much left. So I had to skimp out on each of those 3 a little bit to make sure that I got both curse efficiency clusters there. I'm going to be casting Bane with Enfeeble, Temporal Chains, and Despair. And my minions are already going to be doing some chaos damage with Chance to Poison and added chaos damage as well. They're going to have Summon Phantasm. One fun thing for me, though, is that I'm going to be going full. So normally when I'm either the Scion or the Necromancer with minions, I always put on, what's the blocking offering? I always get them mixed up. Is it Spirit? No, I forget. Anyway, the blocking bone offering, of course, bone zombies, bone offering. For the block chance, and then I put on glancing blows so that it's like a really nice, consistent, old school version of Fortify, basically. With the amount of mitigation that you get for super cheap, and it's really nice. But anytime I'm not Scion or the Necromancer, I'm always tempted to do, like, I'm excited to use an offensive offering. And so with this, my theme is going to be movement speed. So zombies and phantasms are going to have minion speed linked to it. I'm going to have the minion speed offering.
Hey, what is zombie quality? Did you figure out what it was?
It was life.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure it was life.
Okay.
Yippee. Right. I mean, by the time my zombies are level 20 and then I'm re-leveling them again, then I get that 20% increased life. Anyway. Yeah, I need it now, not then. So you're going to have movement speed, minion speed, the offering for speed as well. And I'm going to have haste because I'm very excited about haste. So hopefully they're going to be all zippy and having a great time, but they're going to be doing primarily chaos damage. But that's what I love about Despair. Despair is the only offensive curse that adds damage to your build. So I love it. Like the enemies hits against the enemy have added chaos damage to them. So I absolutely love that. So, and then having the poison on there I'm going to have 20 minions there and it's going to be fun. So excited about that. I hope it works out. I hope casting Bane is efficient enough for my curses to be there. I hope I don't have to be too aware that the AoE is big enough. So that's kind of my trial run. In the past, when I wanted to do slow-mo zombies and have a really beefed up temporal chains with zombies, I always had it as blasphemy. And I mean, I love that idea because it's so much more stress-free, but I just lacked so much more defense with the other aura options that I could have had. So sucking it up, going with Bane, and then I'm having a lot more defense with my auras this time around. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the idea. I'm level 30. And do you want me to tell you how it's going now, or no? Let's let other people hear you. You, what are you doing? How are you leveling? What are you leveling or going to be? I
decided I wanted to play Poisonous Concoction. Talon kind of got me onto the idea of it. He showed me some videos of it, I think last league or the league before, that looked fun. I've wanted to play it for a number of leagues now, but I didn't want to take it on in the hardcore private league. So yeah, I decided to play this league. I noticed that most people go Pathfinder, which probably does make quite a lot of sense. But I wanted Profane Bloom because I wanted the explosions. So I also want a cultist. I am actually an occultist, not a witch.
Oh, look at me.
No. I haven't quite figured out everything yet, but so far it's fun. it is a really fun skill. It's the first time I've played with it, so yeah, it's fun. I was self-casting Despair because I'm also using Despair, but then I was like, well, I should just throw Blasphemy on because then I don't have to do anything anymore. And
as long as we're using the same one, so I don't screw you over when I cast Bane.
How does Profane Bloom have to be cursed by me?
I'd have to read
Is it enemies I've cursed? I'm just going to check right now. I've got it up.
Hey,
Profane Bloom.
Why don't you just
cursed
check?
Enemies you or your minions. It just says cursed enemies you kill. So it doesn't say that you have to have killed them. But yeah, so this is the first time I've played with a lot of like poison based stuff, which has been a lot of fun. So I've got like Herald of Agony. So strong. I really like Herald of Agony. And
are you going to keep it, you think?
I don't know yet, but it's awesome right now. And I don't even have it. It's not even linked to anything. It's just there.
Well, you actually poison with Poisonous Concoction, right? It's not just chaos damage. It's actually your poison. It's the dot. Yeah. You get a lot of AoE with that. You hit a lot of enemies at once. I'm curious what it'd be like for a boss, how much virulence you can get with Poisonous Concoction against a boss. Because your goal's still 40, but are you just using it for the poison chance? Or are you going to link any damage? Are you going to link anything to it?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know what's strongest with it. This is the first time I've played with that and Plague Bear. Plague Bear is so much fun. Josh was telling me that he wasn't a big fan of it, but oh my god, it is. I'm just having so much fun with that. The only thing I don't like, there's no visual cue when you're capped, and so with Plague Bear, you turn it on. Then as you do poison damage, it like builds up, and then you hit it again, and it's like an RF but of poison around you, and then it drains down, and then it goes back up. But there's nothing visual to tell you that it's ready to activate, and it's very difficult to tell when it's actually run out. Not that matters, the running out part of it, but there's nothing that shows you when it's full, so you're kind of constantly looking up at the top to see if it's there. But that combined with Blasphemy Despair is so much fun, because then I don't even cast anything. I'm literally, it's like RF. I'm running through mobs and everything's like just blowing up. So yeah, I think I'm level 50 so far. So I think I'm 50, and I'm in Act 6, I think. But it's a fun skill. This is the first time I played with Poisonous Concoction. Thankfully, Val's helped me out with getting Poisonous Concoction a little bit early, because Witch doesn't actually get it till library. Like, you don't have access to it early. So, but also Witch starts like center of the tree. So in order to get a lot of the chaos stuff and the flask based stuff, you got to go pretty far to the right anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, so far it's been fine. It's not super tanky, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So far, I'm really having a lot of fun with it. I am really enjoying not playing hardcore. I'm just like,
you're enjoying not playing hardcore. Okay.
Oh yeah, very much so. Yep. Yeah. It's the private league is good for me. I enjoy that, but that's it. That's all I can do. I definitely much more prefer the softcore aspect of Path of Exile. So.
Well, we were running around. We were in one of those like mirror areas, and there was just one of the bosses just decided to explode when it died with no tell, no nothing, and we were both just obliterated.
Instantly died. I mean, I guess we should have read the thing.
There wasn't anything.
Well, so people have told us that there is on the crab. I'll have to check. I haven't done it since then, but I still don't like that. Like it was so fast when we killed this boss. We both instantly disappeared. And but it's softcore, so whatever, you run back in. So let's talk about Lake of Kalandra though, like the actual mechanic of Lake of Kalandra. You've done it a little bit. We both did it. Yeah. I'm curious what your thoughts have been on it so far, because I have pros and cons.
To me, it's meh. To me, it's just another area that I have to stop my mapping to go to another map. I mean, I'm Act 3, right? So as I've gotten to Act 3 so far, it's an area to fight the exact same thing I'm already doing, but they're harder because this game doesn't have the same difficulty level between the normal game and the league mechanic. So my minions, who I have invested full survivability on for the level that I'm in, like what do I have? I started as the Witch. I went straight for the full thing of Grave Intentions, and they leech 1% of their life, and then I went for the full thing of Indomitable Army, and I increased the resist there, but they're not going to be maxed resist yet. And I have that. There's like that was my choice, and like that's the most that I can do for my minions at that stage of the game, and my zombies are getting obliterated. Like, I have no chance with a zombie build going into the actual league mechanic of Lake of Kalandra. So unfortunately, I've been having to use something like SRS, which, I mean, they're living better than my zombies, which is odd. My zombies just get smashed, but I go through and I'm slowly going through because, you know, I've chosen survivability over offense, so they're slowly killing things, but I can keep casting them. They cost a lot less mana than the zombies do. And I mean, some of the stuff, like for example, I never choose the pirates because they're spirit walkers or whatever they call them, and they don't create corpses. So if they kill, which I mean, they're destroying, they have like Blade Vortex and the other one that the Scion starts with. What's that called? Where they throw a weapon? Man,
I can't
anyway,
even think.
as a whole group, especially if they're magic, oh my goodness, they just completely destroy me. So I have to be very picky with it, unfortunately, with the current setup and the current tuning. But so far, I've found it kind of pointless. It's just more mobs, which is fine, but it's the same stuff that I would see normally. It is nice to run into an area where I have, oh, hey, look, there's 5 strong boxes, but strong boxes don't drop anything in this game. And I did see Kalandra once. It is interesting. I didn't think the bird would be Kalandra, but it is. On the map, it actually says it's Kalandra, mini-map. But I haven't seen, like you saw one of those mirror things where you could do something with an item. I saw her once. I haven't seen any of those yet. I've been doing every single instance that I've come across and I haven't seen anything. So far it's just more encounters. So I'm relatively apathetic to it. To me, right now, it's just slowing me down to get maps. But at the same time, it's kind of is, kind of isn't, because, you know, you like any other time, it's the Path of Exile thing. It's a league mechanic that over levels you, that makes the campaign a little bit easier. But I'm not getting anything from it. There's no good items. The one thing that I'm actually really enjoying about this, which the drops currently haven't nailed at all, but the prospect of it is bringing back chest rewards. I don't know if PoE ever had it, but to me, a game like this, when you see a chest, it's going to drop something. And it's going to drop something good, not necessarily for your build, but maybe it's, in this game, currency, maybe it's something, but they're still just dropping crap. I feel like I'm clicking on a big chest that has the same reward and value system as all the chests I ignore throughout all the other maps because they're always garbage anyway. You know what I mean? Except that is where I got my one mirror. Way back in Pier, way back in the day, it was a random, normal, itty-bitty little rate that I clicked on.
On console.
On console, yeah.
Just want to point that out, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been meh. But I mean, like, I don't know. I can't do zombies with it, but I can still clear it with SRS. So yeah, I'm fine. But we'll see what it's like in maps when I actually start getting to actually see an item and actually get rewards. So right now it's just XP that's not really worth fighting because I chose survivability over offense. I should probably just stick in the normal campaign because it'd probably be faster because they're easier enemies. Anyway, go ahead. How about you?
I think it's fine. I think the concept of like building the tablet is interesting. It's a simpler version of synthesis.
I do enjoy that process. That's for sure. I do enjoy picking and figuring it out and making your own map.
And I think that the ability to change it around and pick what you're putting in there, it's fun. It's enjoyable. Like to look at that. I'm only Act 6, so it's I might take both of our opinions with a little grain of salt because we haven't played it on the mapping side. I think it's useful for a character of a brand new league because you are just increasing your XP to be over leveled as you're continuing through. You're increasing your chances for some currency. I actually don't think the loot is terrible. I don't think it's great, but it's not terrible. It's at least similar to Legion. Richard. Yeah, but you're only Act 3. It's Legion level drops. You're getting like a currency one or an armor one. It is what it is. An armor box is almost always going to be shit because there's billions of pieces of armor in the game. So the chances of it dropping something useful is very, very low. And there's nothing that's going to change that until they change loot entirely.
Well, I was hoping that they would use a different system for, like, there's no point having a bigger chest that does the exact same thing. So I was hoping, like, when they said that, hey, there's a chest reward, I was like, sweet.
Well, that's
this
like
is
Legion,
a
though.
different
That's what Legion
chest.
is.
Right. But I was
yeah.
my expectations, because they emphasize that there's a chest reward, was that it's different than every other single chest that I would click on.
Yeah, I don't find that the rewards terrible, but they're not great. So first off, I love the voice of Kalandra. Like,
Yes.
it is amazing. Clicking on the little effigies or whatever they are that you get to listen to them talk. Freaking love that.
I just want to thank you for GGG for actually making Kalandra's voice stuff and those little, or what are they, epitaphs? What are they?
Whatever they are, the things you can click on.
Yeah, that they're actually audible. We can listen to it while we're going around and
even
fighting.
when you move away.
Mm-hmm. So thanks for doing that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. In addition to that, I actually have been reading and listening to them, and I'm actually enjoying her little storyline that I'm hearing. I've only got to the third stone thing that you can click on to sort of hear what she talks about, but I have been actually enjoying her little story about what's happening. I'm trying to think positive wise. I think that it's fine, like I said, for leveling. I think it's fine for giving you some extra stuff. It's fine for getting you a bit over leveled. I have enjoyed it much more the stronger I've gotten, because it was feeling like it was taking too long. Like, it was kind of, I'm trying to think of what it was reminding me of, but as you're going through the acts, when your goal is to just get the maps, I don't want a league mechanic that feels like tedious. And as I got stronger, it felt better because I could clear them much quicker when I did go into them. But I absolutely hate any mechanic that kills me while I'm trying to interact with it. And that is a problem when you put an interactable league mechanic in the middle of a map or a zone. I have to make sure I clear every tiny little thing around, or while I'm trying to interact and build this thing, I could die. In addition, I'm doing a delirium. I literally can't click it. So am I supposed to just continue on, or should I end the delirium? Like, I have a problem with that. It happened multiple times where I'd think I was fine. I'd start clicking it, and then all of a sudden, something's coming in, and I'm just mashing my keyboard trying not to die. I don't like that.
And before, we used to think that just wasn't possible in Path of Exile, but then they came out with, who was the bad guy that they just brought in that we really liked, but was gone for a
master.
Bit? Right. What was that league?
Oh, that's not good. Why are we forgetting?
Not Insurrection.
Inconceivable. I don't remember what it's called, but yes.
But they proved with that league that they could pause. I mean, I guess they technically showed it to us every time and we missed this, when the Shaper would come into your map and whisper and then like float away. But it did that for everybody. And when you would interact with this mechanic that we can't remember, that's no longer in the game, Incursion. No. Oh, I was so close. No, I wasn't. But it would pause it for everybody.
Yep.
And
I don't know that's a solution, because I was thinking about, I agree, it would be better, or just something. I don't know what the solution is, but I find any mechanic like that can get a little frustrating, because then I have to fully clear a lot of stuff. But the worst part about this league mechanic is the getting trapped on stupid ledges, hitting edges.
Inside the Kalandra
where the actual map that is visibly shown does not match the actual map that you can walk on. And I don't understand that. Like, why is there a continuation to the edge of this map when I can't move on it? Because when I'm in the middle of a busy fight, I'm not looking in the mini map to make sure, am I at the edge? Because I trust my eyes to see the edge of it and assume that's the edge. And I cannot tell you, well, it's not like it happened so many times, but it was enough times that I was like, I'm walking to an area that should be able to be walked on, and I can't walk there. Like, I just don't. That part is really frustrating to me. Just make a giant flat thing. That's it. I don't want a hill. I don't want a rock. Just flatten the whole damn thing out and let me fight.
I died more times than I was comfortable. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to die, and I don't like dying, but I found myself in many circumstances when I was in these where the collision detection and how the terrain was generated just did not make sense compared to what I could see. And I don't know if the minimap was showing that I could or not, because I should not have to stare at the minimap in the middle of my combat. You know what I mean? Like you said, you should be able to use your eyes. And there were so many times where there'd be just this little ledge. I didn't even know it was a ledge, but for some reason, I can't, like, I'm still trying to force myself to walk through there, because I'm like, it looked so level to me that it didn't even register that I can't walk through there. It must be an enemy that's blocking my way or something. there's so many times where, I mean, even when we were complaining, or what was I saying? You know, the exploding guys in Act 2 when you're close to a Lyra, where it's like you think you can walk between these trees because visually you can, because you're not staring at the mini map that says no, you can't, and then you're surrounded by these exploding guys. There's so many areas in this mirror area, you know, like Kalandra's area, whatever it is, that it's I was it was really frustrating that there's so many different. The collision detection doesn't match the map that I see, or they need to change the
frustrating
levels.
part.
I agree.
For me,
I agree.
I find it's a little underwhelming, but again, until I get to maps, it's hard to say. I like that there's extra things added. I love that you can add essence onto it. That to me is amazing when you're leveling, especially a first character to have access to essences early. I think the thing is, anytime you add one of those things, so strong boxes, essences, shrines, you don't get the award. You don't get the reward chest. And that's fine for essences because you're getting 3 essences, which is great. At least at this tier, I'm getting 3. 5 strong boxes, meh, but at least it's something. 3 shrines to me is I should not have been adding that one. It was not useful at all. It's not like you're going to get those shrines fast enough to then run through the rest of the zone to get any benefit. But I think the concept of it is cool. I'm excited to at least see how it works in maps and as they get bigger and you can build them more. But I'm not totally sold on for the whole mirroring thing is fun, but it's just an absolute dog shit so far. But it should be. It's not like I should get a good item every single time it comes up. I think I've gotten 3 of them so far, and they're actually quite funny. I think the one that cracked me up the most is, you know how you can get like a ring that or an amulet that says like adds 2 to 48 fire damage to your attacks. The alternate to that version is adds 2 to 48 fire damage to attacks against you. Which really made me laugh when I read it. But I think and I'm fine with the fact that the majority of the items that come from that are going to be garbage. At least I'm selling it for some alteration shards, which again is why it's great early and as you're going through a first character. If I was leveling a second character, there is 0 chance I would stop for a tablet. There wouldn't be any benefit to it to a second character as I'm leveling up. So see how it is in maps though.
Where are you finding these mirrors that are offering you these items? Because they don't show up in my encounters.
It's only when Kalandra's there. And
has it been every time? Because she showed up for me.
The only time she showed up for you was when you were in mine.
No, I played a bit while the kids are getting ready for bed, and she was there, and I looked around for like 10 minutes and it didn't show up.
It's right. It's always right by her. There's a little like mirror thing that's always by her.
The very first time there was one for you too?
Yep. The very first time she showed up, it was there too.
Well, maybe it glitched.
It so far seems a little bit underwhelming. The thing I'm appreciating the most is just the XP. It's helping me be a little bit over leveled, which I actually appreciate because it makes the questing a little bit faster. But it is I guarantee the people who are rushing through, there's no chance they were stopping for the Kalandra stuff because it definitely slows you down in trying to actually progress through the acts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how it is on the mapping side. I'm still gonna have some hope that it's fun. Sure. It just doesn't feel like it's as rewarding as maybe I had hoped it would be, but you never know.
Yeah.
It could get better. They could change it. But more than anything, I'm so tired of getting killed while I'm trying to interact with something. And the collision detection is fucking awful. Like the map, I don't want you to design something that's like an N or something, you know, like where there's an arch that you have to run around that arch where it looks like the land actually travels straight, but it doesn't travel straight. That stuff drives me crazy because I can't look at it. I'm trying to fight.
Oh, yeah. It needs to be visible.
Fight some monsters, guys.
You know your game's crazy busy. Make your terrain capable for people to traverse in a crazy busy map.
We don't need hills. I don't need a rock ledge. I just want a big, wide, grassy field to fight some monsters. That's it. So, yeah, the mechanic is cool. I seriously can't even say enough good things about the voice acting for Kalandra. She sounds amazing.
Agreed.
The storyline seems really cool. So we'll see. I'm excited to get into maps and get back into the Atlas and see how it goes.
Yeah, it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm probably going to be skipping it a little bit. I'm sure there's going to slowly introduce other things as well as you progress, but I want to get to maps.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I do find the challenge a little bit fun, It's just the rewards aren't matching those challenges, like how it gets more difficult as I'm getting further on. It's not quite there for the reward, but
Carrot's not big enough.
Not quite. And I'm not sure that will actually get better in maps. You know what I mean? Because you have to be so much better that you're better than me running maybe two or three extra maps. Like that one set of Kalandra's lake needs to be equivalent to a few maps of drops.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that will be the case, but we'll see.
For me, I've never cared if the league mechanic is good or not, because I'm more of a core player and a standard player, you know what I mean? So I'm still very excited about the Archnemesis changes that are happening. I'm excited to get into my Atlas tree and see if these ghastly jewels that have been modified slightly have a bigger value to my build. I am very excited to learn more about the Kalandra lore. I am excited about that. And so I definitely will be progressing to the point where I can find that out. And I will care about spoilers too. So for people chit-chatting about Kalandra in our Discord, please use the spoiler section for Kalandra lore, because I don't want it spoiled for me.
Well, they can just cover it in black text or whatever.
Everybody clicks on the black text. Come on.
That's your fault. If you click on the spoiler, yes,
no, it's not.
100% it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, on Discord, you can post it wherever you want. If it's a spoiler, just cover it in black. Okay.
No, there's a whole spoiler channel for spoilers. That's what it's for.
Nah, I'm deleting that channel right now.
You goober. So anyway, no, I'm excited. Yeah. But the things that I'm more excited for are the core content. So whether I like the league mechanic or not, that's not why I play. That's why you play. How have you found the Archnemesis changes so far? Obviously, it's not something that we have a lot of experiences to talk about right now because we're Act 3 and Act 6. So it'll be more once, our Atlas tree is filled out and all that kind of stuff. But what do you think so far of the changes? Magic monsters, rare monsters?
They're fine. I still think there's modifiers in there that are dumb. I haven't seen any of the horrible ones, but there's enough that I still find them a little bit annoying. But I haven't been overwhelmed at all. I haven't felt like, I don't know what happened in particular, but I have noticed in the Lake of Kalandra, some gargantuan mobs being the size of my screen, which is very cool.
I love that.
But I've not seen that in any maps. So I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure. I saw a skeleton that was like the size of a freaking tree. It was so big and it was really cool, but it's not happened every time that there's been gargantuan. So I'm not really sure what modifier plays with each other, but it's happened twice. I saw a zombie with you and a skeleton once when I was on my own. And that's what I would love to see with gargantuan. Like, let me just fight a foot or something.
Right. Like the old headhunter days.
Yeah.
When you would be 10 feet tall.
They just filling the whole screen. But you know what? They have been fine. I saw some stuff about people complaining that there were still 3 modifier rares. I haven't seen it. They've seemed reasonable, but again, I'm only in Act 6, so
yeah.
It hasn't been overwhelming like last league. I can say that. It wasn't where I was like, oh my God, if I died in this league, it was every single one of them was my own fault. Except that crab one. I know we should have read it, but it was really stupid. It's just, I don't want stuff that blows all the bodies up instantly when it dies. How is a melee person supposed to fight something like that?
Yeah, when you're level 10.
I just don't. Yeah, that part I don't quite get. And the like chill and freeze, man, as you're leveling up, like just piss off. I barely have resist. I'm trying. Leave me alone. So otherwise, it has been much better than last league. I will say that.
Want to pause quick so I can find the thing in my stream?
No, it's fine.
All right, fine. I'll find it in for After Dark.
For After Dark,
which
sure.
we're going to record right away.
We are very quickly.
I do have a little prediction here, though. I actually want to say this last week, but I forgot. No, actually, I didn't forget. I actually put it in the 150 notes instead of the 149 notes. So I put it in the wrong episode. But I have a prediction, and it's still Friday. It's only been a few hours. Well, I guess it's been 9 hours now. But I think for minions, because minions kind of got cut down and this and that. And this was before I saw how squishy zombies were in league content while leveling. But I think the strongest minion builds this league are going to be melee minion builds, like Herald of Purity or Herald of Agony, with something like Dominating Blow and Holy Relic.
Why?
Because they're builds that you're doing your own thing while you're completely ignoring your minions. You don't have to worry about them at all. As you play, they just happen. And so you're not too, you invest in whatever major, minor amounts of survivability. You obviously Herald of Agony, you don't care because it's always alive. It's always max life. But with the others, you just do your tiny bit of investment in survivability on the tree, and then you're just playing your way. Like, you don't have to worry about them carrying you through. You also are doing your own damage. And I think those, especially with the types of weapons that can show up, all the gear now, how helmets have changed and mods have changed and rings. Because they're likely not using a convoking one for those ones. But I think just with that extra addition of power, they'll be your strongest versions of minions for sure. That's my guess.
Cool. I have no opinion.
That's my prediction post league launch.
Well, 9 hours post league launch.
9 hours, yes.
All right, cool. I think we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do some After Dark and then some Lake of Kalandra.
Maybe some play. Yep. Forever Exiled, episode 150, Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, AK Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
A huge thank you to everybody for listening and hanging out with us. We're 150 episodes in. It's a really, really cool number. So what do we got? Patrons, we'll see you in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you next week in episode 151 with BK. And if you look for more information, you can find down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a Discord channel that is super duper fun. And if you're looking for our Patreon and other ways to support the podcast, you can find it down below or on our website, as previously mentioned. That's it.
Were you hoping I was going to butt in?
All right, I lost
BK.
it. And we're out.